So we have some good news coming out in regards to the jobless claims. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to look at Senator Capito. She has we were talking about this counter offer when it comes to the infrastructure bill. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. This is very, very important because this could mean you paying more at the gas pump. This could mean you paying more for groceries, you paying more for a lot of different things if Senator Capito gets her way when it comes to how to pay for this next infrastructure bill. So we're going to look at those two things. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news stories that make you money. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about are jobless claims. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Associated Press here. U.S. jobless claims fall to 406,000, a new pandemic low. So this is really good news. This means that there are less people that are applying for unemployment, which is good. This is showing us that the economy is starting to get back on track. And look here, it says a decline of 38,000 from the week earlier. So the week earlier was 444,000. So all good news. All good news. Economy. Hopefully the economy is back on track. I know we had some real bad jobs report last month. Hopefully the jobs report this month will be better. Once this infrastructure bill gets going, that means more jobs as well, because you're going to be building roads, bridges, broadband, and the like. So that's all good news. So right now, just wanted to put that out there to you guys. When it comes to the jobless claim numbers, they look a lot better. Now, we do know that we had some states that came out and they pulled the enhanced unemployment, or at least they'll be pulling it in June. So, of course, that's going to have some type of an effect as well. But looking at the jobless claims, the fact that people are starting to go back to work, or continuing to go back to work, and I think this is the fourth week straight that the numbers have decreased. This is really, really good news. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about this infrastructure bill. So just to give you guys a brief overview, the White House started out with a $2.3 trillion proposal for this infrastructure. This is the American Jobs Plan. This is the first part of the infrastructure bill. There's going to be a second part of the infrastructure bill, the American Families Plan. So the first part, $2.3 trillion, the White House dropped that. Last week, they dropped it down to $1.7 trillion. Now, Republicans have been wanting to negotiate, and they have been negotiating with the White House, and they put forward an offer, and this was about 3 weeks ago, of $568 billion. Well, now they have another offer that's on the table, and we're going to talk about the offer that's on the table after we watch Senator Capito. This video was prior to her going into her press conference where she unveiled the actual amount, but she gave out some pretty good information, so you can kind of get an idea where she's coming from and how she wants to move forward, how she wants to pay for this. So let's take a look at this video.
Republicans this morning are set to unveil a counterproposal to President Biden's latest infrastructure offer. Joining us right now for what we can expect is West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She's the ranking member of the Environment and Public Works Committee and the lead on the Republicans' infrastructure efforts. And Senator, thanks for being here today. I know this program, your counteroffer, is going to be coming later this morning at 9 a.m., so you can't tell us a lot about the details, but we have seen the administration step down pretty significantly what they were asking for. $1.7 trillion is their latest ask. What do you think the odds are that you can actually reach an agreement by the president's deadline that he set of Memorial Day for trying to see if there's any way that this can be done in a bipartisan manner?
Well, we're certainly inching closer, and I think it's very significant as well to note that yesterday out of our committee, Senator Carper and I passed a huge bipartisan surface transportation bill, which really is the anchor of this infrastructure package of $303 billion. And I think that shows the momentum for a bipartisan agreement. So, we're still talking. I'm optimistic. We still have a big gap. But I think where we're really falling short is we can't seem to get the White House to agree on a definition or a scope of infrastructure that matches where we think it is, and that's physical core infrastructure. The White House is still bringing their human infrastructure into this package, and that's just a non-starter for us.
Now, it's interesting how she just kind of glosses over that, this human infrastructure. Should we be investing in the American people, not just investing in roads and bridges and broadband? That is the question She kind of just glosses over that. We just want to strictly deal with the infrastructure, the actual physical infrastructure. We don't want to deal with anything that has to do with the people when it comes to infrastructure. I don't know. It just doesn't sound good, right? I mean, we've gone through this pandemic. We realize that our jobs are going to change. So some of these jobs prior to the pandemic are not going to be there anymore. And so you are going to have some retraining that's going to be involved. And so we are going to have to invest in the American people. But it's just interesting. They want to focus only on this infrastructure, roads, bridges, stuff that they can actually see, the tangible stuff. They don't want to deal with anything when it comes to educating the public and giving them new opportunities, new trades and things like that. So I just thought that was really interesting, just how she kind of glosses over the human infrastructure aspect. Here we go.
There have been reports that the president told you and other Republicans that $1 trillion is the bottom line, that he needs at least that much for it to be a package he could agree on. Is that what he told you? And will your offer today meet that threshold?
You know, the president told us a couple of things when we were in the Oval Office. He did mention the $1 trillion threshold. He also mentioned that an 8-year window for spending would suit his needs as well. He said, yes, include the baseline spending, which means the spending that's appropriated every year. So he understood that we're not going to touch the 2017 tax cuts. Now, I'm not saying he agreed with that, but he understood our position there, and that we didn't consider human infrastructure, physical infrastructure. So we're going to meet all the metrics that the president himself laid out for us, and we'll get close to his number. And I think we're going to include a lot of the things that are important to all of us and to him in the core infrastructure space.
Okay, so the senator is saying that they're not touching this corporate tax rate. Okay, so the corporate tax rate increase, the talk right now, President Biden wants to raise that corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%. Prior to 2017, it was 35%. They dropped it down to 21% in 2017. Now, Republicans at this point, at least Republican leadership, they do not want to revisit this. So they don't want to even address this corporate tax rate. They want to keep it at 21%, and that's what she's saying there. Now, President Biden doesn't want to, he wants to touch the corporate tax rate. He wants to increase it. And so there are certain things that President Biden doesn't want to touch, and she's going to talk a little bit about that. But at this point, Republicans, it's dead on arrival if you want to touch the corporate tax rate.
Mitch McConnell is coming on a little later this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. He'll be on CNBC. He's been the one who has said that there's a hard line on this, that they will not be, the Republicans will not accept anything that touches those 2017 tax cuts, as you just mentioned. Is there any way that you would compromise on that? Do you see you yourself being able to vote for something that would raise corporate taxes to a lesser level than the administration has asked for, or is that completely off the table?
I think it's completely off the table. Look, the tax cuts of 2017 led to a roaring economy that we saw pre-pandemic. We know that. But also, we can do this without touching those tax cuts. And we can do it by repurposing COVID dollars. If we look at the states that are now no longer taking the enhanced unemployment, there's a resource right there for us. We're looking at a financing mechanism for like a revolving fund for infrastructure that you would put some dollars in and get a much greater private investment. User fees. The president has taken user fees off the table, even for electric or hydrogen vehicles. Well, we disagree with that, so we're going to keep pushing that. So I think we can do this without touching that tax bill, and I think it can be fully paid for, and I think that's the goal that we're trying to go for.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you that quick little portion there, but you see already, as far as the pay-fors, they don't have, you have one side that wants to do the corporate tax rate increase, and the other side saying, no, that's dead on arrival. And then you have the other side. You have the Senator Capito side that say, no, user fees, let's take some money from the COVID, the first $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Let's take some money from there. The enhanced unemployment, some states are starting to kick that back to the federal government. So let's take some of that money. So you can already see that there's just no, they're not going to get anywhere. They're not going to get anywhere. I don't care if they agree on this $1 trillion infrastructure top line number. they're not going to get anywhere because they're not agreeing on how to pay for this. So until they can come to an agreement on how to pay for this, there's no deal. There's just no deal. And that's why at this point, the Democrats have an opportunity to just say, you know what, we tried to negotiate with you guys, but we're going to have to move forward. Let's go ahead and take a look. I want to take a look at the counter offer that the Republicans have come up with. So here's what the Republicans knew: $928 billion. Now they couldn't make it $1 trillion. They had to go under. Now the president President Biden already said $1 trillion. That is the red line. They can't go any lower than that. But what do? They offer something lower than that. It makes no sense. You could just get it up to $1 trillion, but for whatever reason they didn't want to do that. So this is the counter proposal here that they're talking about. And of course, it's focusing on the roads, bridges, broadband, right? No human infrastructure here. And you can take a look. They have kind of outlined some of where the money will be going: $506 billion for roads, bridges, and major projects, including $4 billion for electric vehicle infrastructure. So that's like the charging stations and stuff like that. And here's some more: $98 billion for public transit, $46 billion for passenger freight, $21 billion for safety, $22 billion for ports and waterways, $56 billion for airports. Much needed. Airports definitely need to be, they need to improve our airports, that's for sure. $22 billion for the Western Water Storage, $72 billion for water infrastructure, $65 billion for broadband infrastructure, $20 billion for infrastructure financing. So that is what we're looking at right now when it comes to the Republicans. That is their counter offer. And so it's around that neighborhood of $1 trillion. Now, like I said, the most important thing that we need to focus on is how are they going to pay for this? And it looks like right now they're not going to agree on how to pay for it. So what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is Democrats are going to have to go on their own. They're going to have to use reconciliation. There's no other way around it, because the Republicans are not going to budge on the corporate tax increase. They're just not going to move on it. So because of that, Democrats need to just move forward. This $928 billion, that's great. That's a great offer. But you know what? We need to move forward and maybe have it around $1 trillion. So have the infrastructure bill around $1 trillion and get that through, but get that through reconciliation and then move forward with the American Families Plan, or have a $1 trillion, the first plan, infrastructure bill, have a $1 trillion bill, and then add this American Families Plan. That's the human infrastructure. Add that with this infrastructure bill, so it'll just be one big bill, and then add all those different programs that you wanted to put in there. Because Republicans they're not serious about moving forward. If they were, then they would be open to raising that corporate tax rate, but they're not. And so because they're not, it's not going to go anywhere. Because what is going to end up happening if you go to the user fees? If you go to the user fees, that means the gas tax increase, that means the mileage tax for electric vehicles. That means some other things that you're going to have to pay. Your tolls are going to increase. So the American people as a whole, we're all going to have to pay for those things. Now, the real danger here when it comes to the Biden administration, if they want to move forward with like a user fee, doing the gas tax and increase and all that, the real danger there, if they accept something like that, you're going to have some politicians that are going to come out and they're going to say, see, I told you President Biden was going to raise gas prices and raise this and raise that. Raise taxes on all Americans. It's not going to be just 400 people who make 400,000 or more. I'm telling you, that's what would happen. Okay. And I'm hoping the White House realizes, okay, look, this is not a good faith offer. These user fees, yes, they're going to affect everyone. And why do we want to affect everyone? That's not what we want to do in this situation right here, because we have a lot of people that are struggling, and raising gas prices just a little bit will definitely hurt those people. Raising prices at the grocery store just a little bit, because those grocery stores have to pay more to have the stuff shipped to them, because the gas tax has been increased. That's going to affect everyone. So when we're looking at this whole situation, I think right now the Democrats have all that they need to move forward. They know that Republicans are not. This is Senator Capito said it. This is a red line. We are not raising the corporate tax rate. If you want to raise the corporate tax rate, you're going to have to go on your own. So they need to go on their own with this infrastructure bill. I want to know what you guys think about this. Like I said, this is very, very important. You might think, well, I don't really care about the roads, bridges, and broadband, but It depends on how they pay for it. If they're going to pay for it with the user fees, you're going to care about it because it's going to come out of your wallet as well. Let me know how you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.